Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Rob Adams, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Navy is Lieutenant Tony Marr. We're honoured to welcome the RSL Australia Board of Directors who have joined us for this evening's ceremony. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors to the memorial. If you are able, please stand and join in singing the national anthem.
Australians, oh let us rejoice, for we are one and free. With golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is good by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea for this national memorial and museum came to him in Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they have done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations over more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Gunner Norman Gladstone Holden. Norman Holden was born on the 26th of August 1898 in Dunkeld, Victoria, one of 5 children born to Army Chaplain Colonel Albert Holden and his wife Martha. He received his education at Melbourne's Wesley College, where he was a member of the cadet program. At the outbreak of the First World War, he had been accepted to study medicine at Melbourne University. Norman enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force on the 22nd of July, 1916. As he was 17 years and 11 months old, he required his parents' permission to join, telling his mother, "The other fellows from Wesley are going. I shall be ashamed to look them in the face unless I also go." He was assigned to reinforcements for the 57th Battalion and began a short period of training in Australia. He embarked for active service from Melbourne on the 15th of August that year on board the troop ship Orsova. Holden returned to Australia in February 1917 and was sent to camp at Maribyrnong, where he was reallotted to the Field Artillery reinforcements and continued further training. He embarked for the second time in November 1917, alongside his father, who had enlisted as a chaplain. They left from Melbourne, travelling on board the troop ship Port Sydney. The pair arrived in Egypt in early December, spending a week there before embarking for England. They arrived in Southampton on the 5th of January 1918, stopping briefly in London where they had their picture taken by a local photographer before Gunner Holden was sent to camp for further training. He arrived on the Western Front in March and was allocated to the 11th Field Artillery Brigade a month later. Arriving at the front during the beginning of the German Spring Offensive, his first major battles took place as his division supported troops defending the vital railway junction of Amiens, which had a direct line to Paris. 5 months later, the Allies launched their own major offensive on the 8th of August. Holden's division played a major role in the initial attack and the advance that followed. By September of 1918, the enemy had been pushed back towards Péronne and Mount Saint-Quentin, placing the war's end within sight. Gunner Holden's brigade took part in its last major action of the war on the 29th of September, as Australian and American forces fought to break through enemy defences on the Hindenburg Line, which ran along Saint-Quentin Canal. Holden and his comrades were firing on enemy lines, providing a creeping barrage to support advancing American troops, when the enemy began shelling their position, causing many casualties. Among the dead was Gunner Norman Holden. His comrades buried him nearby at Roussel Communal Cemetery, where his remains lie today beneath the inscription chosen by his grieving family. Our darling Norman, loving, brave and true, he died that we may live. The armistice was signed 6 weeks later, bringing an end to the First World War. Gunner Norman Holden was 19 years old. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. A photograph of Gunner Holden with his father, Colonel Holden, is displayed today by the Pool of Reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Gunner Norman Gladstone Holden, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the Director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support of the Memorial's development project. We wish you all a very pleasant evening. Thank you.